I saw this
Gotcha.
film last night. Uh, it's very touching. I really got into this. Like, I really enjoyed the main character.
Oh, thank
How
you.
happy are you with the result you got for this film?
I'm so happy about it. I just came back from Dances with Films a few days ago, and the reaction was so lively and so warm and so constant throughout the film. Actually, laughs, a lot of laughs, even in places that I didn't necessarily expect them, places that maybe I didn't think were as funny as the audience did. Um, there was one audience member who emailed me afterwards who said something like, I wonder if I would have appreciated the dramatic aspects of your film more if the person next to me had not been laughing so hard throughout all of it. So that just tells me that it works for a lot of people on a lot of different levels. And it isn't just a comedy and it isn't just a drama. It's definitely, it's either a comedy with a sad heart or a very silly drama. So it's, understandable that I'm so glad that it resonated with you.
Yeah, and your cast is amazing. How
Thank you.
happy are you with them? How did you, come to have such a great cast?
I got very lucky. So a few of our actors, most primarily Thomas Villejeu, who plays Thibaut, was so the male lead. He was already a good friend of mine, and he actually was in the short film that ended up becoming Goodbye Petrushka. It's not really the same story, but it sort of evolved to become Goodbye Petrushka. So he's been there literally from day one. And I knew a couple of the other actors beforehand, but mostly people that were in kind of the supporting cast, because it's a very large cast. And there were a couple other actors that I had worked with multiple times before. But by and large, the main cast was actually people who auditioned, who, either they sent in their materials or their agents sent in their materials, and I looked at their tapes, and it was difficult because, as cliche as this sounds, my producing partner and I, who I did the casting and she really backed me up with the casting, and we received so many good tapes. And obviously it was tighter, it was a smaller pool, I guess I should say, for some roles than for others. But there were some reels rather, or auditions that we just could not say no to.
Definitely. And this story, like you said, there's comedy aspects to it, there's a drama. It's mixed in perfectly well that you're just caught up in the storyline.
Thank you.
How did the storyline come to be? Because it seems like you had your short, there's animation in it, there's comedy, there's drama, there's a little bit of everything that people can, hold on to.
Yeah. So, how did the storyline come about? So the short is actually a little bit more of a departure from the inspiration, the original inspiration. A lot of the for those who haven't seen it, obviously, Goodbye Petrushka has to do with a young woman named Claire who moves from America to France and back to America again, and she grows up along the way. And a lot of that story, the most basic parts of that were based on my life in my early 20s, because write what you know. But anytime something wasn't super interesting, I told lies to make it more interesting, because that's also part of my job. But I did have a friend, I had a couple friends who heavily inspired characters in this story. Everybody in there is real in some way, I would say. Um, there was a figure skater I knew who was sort of at the end of his career, and he was only like 25, 26. I don't remember, but very young, because they do tend to retire very young. And he, there were some political reasons that, like, the Federation might have prioritized one skater over another, and there's always weird political things, but also he had arthritis, and there were some physical reasons that he, had to quit. But it struck me as such an absurdly sad sort of state to be in life that he was in, because, like, here you are, you're 25, you've only ever done one thing your whole life, and it's like, where do you go from here? Are you good at anything else? Do you even know if you're good at anything? It's like with ballet dancers, they have this career, this rather extraordinary thing that they do, and they have a career, but then it's like, you're 25, this is, or you're, if you're lucky, you're 30 and this is done. And where do you go from there? What do you even know about yourself except that you've practiced every day?
Definitely, and this definitely deserves an audience. It's better than having it be a virtual film festival. How did you feel seeing it with an audience?
It was so good. I up until that moment, I had seen Goodbye Petrushka only either with my producing partner when I was editing it, I was busy chopping it up. She was in the room looking over my shoulder. Maybe I had seen bits of it with my boyfriend or, um, just by myself. And, these films, as far as I'm concerned, the films are for audiences. They're really not anything until, I don't make these to entertain myself. If I do entertain myself, that's like, great. Okay. That's a byproduct. That's like a fortunate byproduct. Great. Okay. But, my job is to entertain audiences. And I was so very happy with the response to this because, you know, seeing it alone, you have all sorts of thoughts that are sort of insular, like inside a vacuum. You're like, well, this is an odd little film. It's this low budget indie, it's an oddball story that doesn't get told too much. Maybe it is only interesting to me. Who knows? I didn't really think that, but you never know how much people are gonna respond to it until you actually hear them in the room and you feel what the energy is like. Literally from moment one, like from the time this started, we could feel all the laughter and energy toward it, and it was like, holy crap, I think this is working on, it was just so gratifying because you think, especially as an editor, in fact, it's more as an editor than as a director, because as a director, you pretty well know what you set out to do. But as an editor, you made that final decision to chop it up a certain way. And, like this bit is going to be this length and this bit is so, I was sitting there thinking, is this bit too short? Is this bit too long? Blah, blah, blah. No, it really all held together so well. And obviously there's always stuff you would change about your own work, but I was so satisfied and it was just so gratifying.
Definitely, and it's in Danzu Film Fest with the films, the and it's their 25-year anniversary. It's at the
Yeah.
Chinese Theater. How did all that make you feel?
It really meant a lot to be part of their is that silver anniversary? I think 25 is silver, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Anyway, it was a big anniversary for them, a big deal. And the fact that they selected this film to be part of that, and it was our world premiere, it really meant a lot that it meant so much to them and that they were willing to, because, with film festivals, they need an audience too. They're always taking a chance. And here I was, they didn't know me. I'm not famous. My cast is not famous. They were taking a chance on me and they decided to take that chance. And that has probably made all the difference in the world. Going forward, I'll know more kind of what's going to happen with this film, but it was just such an honor.
And you have the dialogue be bilingual. It goes English, it goes to French. How did that decision come about?
Oh, so again, I'm being a bit of a literalist here because the real life story did take place in France, which means that any number of things that might have either inspired or like directly turned into things in the film really were said in French. Some things ended up getting translated into English, if anything, from reality where they might have happened in French. Anymore, it's hard for me to remember what was real and what was fake. I just mix it all up now. It's like, did that really happen? Oh yeah, that did really happen. That thing happened. But I forget. And so obviously the story, she has to go to France for that story to happen, or else, there's no real motor behind, there's no inciting incident, there was a lot that just felt like it needed to happen in French. Now, if my producing partner, Tierney Borbor, were here, one of the things she would be mentioning right off the bat is that in order for the film to be more, to resonate more with an American audience and to be more saleable in this country, in the US, that it needed not to be too heavily in French because, then you're dealing with what's seen as a foreign film, essentially. And doesn't matter how accessible or not accessible I think that is. The point is, for a mass audience, it's better if it can be largely in English. So there was a certain amount that I might have written in French that then ended up being in English, and that's why in some scenes, and I tried in the writing of it to make it as seamless as possible. The characters start out talking in English and they end up talking in French, or they or vice versa. It's
Anyways,
just what felt right.
it was a great mixture. I really enjoyed
You.
it. Congratulations on this project. I hope you enjoyed Dances with Films, and I really hope that this film gets into more film festivals and a bigger audience gets to watch it.
Thank you so much. I really look forward to seeing what happens with it.
Awesome. Well, have a good rest of your day,
You
and
too.
congratulations once again.
Thanks so much.